Okay, I'm back. So, let's assume that we've gotten the federal government to redirect some of this funding, or redirect the funding, the block of federal grant money, HUD money, all this money into the agricultural housing and education program, which will be implemented in each state of the union. Let's say we've gotten there. We're almost there. Okay. We still have a magnanimous problem on our hands. Because in the state of California, we have 141,000 human beings living outdoors. I mean, they're in shelters, but they might as well be living outdoors because that's not their housing. So, how on earth are we ever going to solve that problem? It is huge. 141,000 people. I mean, it just, my hometown is 20,000. So, you know, I can barely walk from one side of it to another. 141,000. Well, let's show off our ability as a nation and roll up our sleeves and go to work, because we are going to have to build a new town. Okay, that sounds like a silly idea, and I laughed. I said, I'm gonna have to build a new city. Well, it's not a bad idea. If we're use solar and water and agriculture. Well, let's just say farming. If we combine 2018 tech and we proceed to say, okay, we have 141,000 people. Well, that's almost physically impossible. We would have to divide that by, say, 4 and build, for the state of California at least, we would have to build 4 or 5 small towns somewhere on land that is already owned by the state of California, okay? So, and in doing so, we have solar paving, we have solar panels for roofs, we have rooftop gardening, we have water recycling from the downspouts that can be utilized for a fresh water supply for hydroponics, for aquaponics. All these kinds of things can be shown off and showcased. Our modern sewage treatment process. 2018 technology there again. We take one of these towns and we implement all these things, but we're going to create labor. Okay, a huge amount of labor is going to be created in building this town. We're going to have supermarkets. Oh, and we're going to have a hospital. We're going to have to, you know, everything that a small town has of any size of 10, 15, 20,000 people, we're going to have these things. So what better way to do that than to go ahead and go with our 2018 technology, and especially where medical and agricultural science, medical, ag, and water, okay, medicine, food, and water, those 3 things. And we can build housing a little differently than we used to be able to do it. We can build apartment. I think China has something like 1 million people living on a square mile. I'm not suggesting doing that at all. What I am suggesting is enough apartment complexes, enough stories tall, to at least encompass several thousand people, 10,000 people. And once we begin this process, then of course the private sector is going to come in for jobs or for entrepreneurship or whatever interest they might have in the process of building this new town. So, and we're going to have to do that over and over again. So, let's build a hospital. Every time we have to build a hospital, let's make it a medical college that includes student housing that we build right along with the hospital. In other words, we build a hospital, and around that we've got towers of apartment buildings, and we have a heliport you know, but this thing's huge. It's huge, because it's a surgical, technological, 2018 medical research facility. We're researching surgery, different cancer research, skin research, anything related to medicine. So if we build these wherever a hospital is needed, and that's funded by the federal government, then we're gonna make forward progress in our medicine. We're gonna make forward progress in our medicine, hopefully, if we do this. We've already got, but if there's an excuse to build a hospital, let's put the technology where it needs to be, and our education where to advance to where, say, Oregon State University now has a medical college that's in the form of a hospital. And we've had to put it in the middle of a new town that we've had to build in order to create more labor and more housing for the 20,000 people that we have that are homeless. And that's after we've put this into place and we begin to build these new towns. That should pretty much solve the problem. And in that process of making an effort to solve the homeless issue, we've solved our labor issues, we've solved our economic issues, in that we've created more exports through agriculture. So now Boeing selling airplanes is not the only export that we have. We have agriculture that's right up there with Boeing, right, surpasses Boeing. We have trade agreements globally with every country that we can make through agriculture. We have that rapport that we can build with people, because at the end of the day, food and water is going to be important. I'm told that in the Bible it says somebody's going to be offering a sack of gold for a loaf of bread, and there won't be a loaf of bread to be had because we didn't pay attention at this time. And 50 years from now, we'll be looking for that loaf of bread that we don't have in the United States of America. And it'll be because some other country got smart and did this. So at the end of the day, we're going to have employed, enabled, educated, healthy American citizens, and that will mean that we will have a healthy economy. Otherwise, if we continue and don't do anything, we're going to end up with a whole bunch of poor, uneducated, indigent, unhealthy people. And that will make for a weak nation as a whole. And I could go on and on. I am writing a book. I am looking for a ghostwriter for that book. I am also looking for a book company, Bantam, Penguin, somebody that will take a hold of this, of my book and the project, and make it something wonderful. And that is the name of my book, because I've worked on this. What you will see on my YouTube channel in regards to the homeless is just excerpts from the book. In the book, it will be more detailed. I'll have done more research in terms of numbers and figures, and you know, how many carrots can I get out of a square foot, for example. You know, so these are the types of things: productivity, number crunching. And I really appreciate Donald Trump donating that $400,000 salary that he turned down to hiring some savants to help me figure out all the details to all of what I've just explained, and to help me implement that, because it's going to be a monumental task. We're all going to have to roll up our sleeves everybody in state and federal government is gonna have to look at this and say, why not? We need to do this, we need to do something. And oh yes, we can, and oh yes, we are. That's where we need to go with this, because otherwise we're gonna have a mess. We have a mess. We're gonna have a bigger mess if we don't do something. This is the easiest, most cost-effective ways in which I could come up with, because if we have raw land and we invest money into that raw land and we hand somebody a shovel, right there, we've begun to solve a problem, okay? We've created something that we can sell to put money back, and we've created money for this individual here so that he can make forward progress. We are in a modern society where we have to be able to work, or we're disabled, we have to be able to get our SSI if we're disabled. So the 2 to 3 year process that I find in my experience, I mean, I know a lot of people that are living out in the woods. I know one guy is a licensed arborist. Well, he did something to his arm. He can't use his arm anymore. He's medically documented disabled, and he used to make 6 figures a year. And now he's living out in the woods because in the process of applying for disability, he's lost everything. And he's still waiting for his disability. So a former roommate of mine had 2 strokes. It's taken her 2 years. Well, it took her 2 years to get her false teeth. That's another thing. The health plans that go with our welfare don't cover anything. I could go to prison and get better dental work done than I can out here on my health plan. That's how bad it is. And that's how strong, we need to look at all these programs. They're antiquated. The food stamp program, for example, it was written in 1964 and hasn't changed. So somehow we still expect our people to live on the same amount as we allocated for them in 1964 with inflation. It's not possible. The other thing that we're incurring is a huge prison population, and we have people going in and out of prison. We've got 2.2 million people in prison. That's a lot of people. And when those people get out, we're going to discriminate against them because they're felons. We're not going to give them a job, and they're going to go rob somebody so they can go back to prison because they can get their teeth fixed and they can eat and take a bath, rather than hold up a cardboard sign. That's the alternative. That's why people hold up cardboard signs and say, homeless, please help, thank you. Need work, please help, thank you. They're doing that because they don't want to go to prison or to jail. And that's totally wrong. And so to support my efforts, please go to the CrowdRise account that I've set up at American Homeless United. You'll see an ugly picture of yours truly. And I'm gonna go through all these videos that I've just made and see what I've left out, and see what I need to add to, and we'll have another episode of how to solve the homeless problem in the United States of America. And please, Donald Trump, listen to me, man, I'm trying to help you. Okay, I really, really am trying to help you. You'll be the most famous president ever to have served our country if you help me to convince the Congress and the Senate to create a bill, the Agricultural Housing and Education Program. And I'll be getting back with you. Thank you.